What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another segment of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I'm your host, Kojo Sarfo, checking in from sunny Los Angeles, California, and today we're going to be talking about a very important topic. This is a life-saving. This live is meant to help save lives, so it's going to be very important. We're gonna have a good time. Vibe like we always do. Just do what we do out here, build that community, and just enjoy every single live. But I have a couple of things I want to say that I think we can use it to our benefit to help out other people. So before we get too deep into it, go ahead and use the comment section to let me know what your name is and where you are checking in from. Steven, what's going on? How you doing, my guy? And of course, I got the pin comment. If you're new here, my name is Kojo. I post about mental health, comedy, and education. Feel free to stick around. All right. Okay, can y'all hear me? Leilani, what's going on? Leilani from Tennessee. Can y'all hear me? Somebody said they can't hear me. I want to make sure that y'all can hear me. That would suck if you couldn't hear me. Kendra, what's going on? So we got the moderators in. Am I muted? So Leilani says yes, I can hear. All right. I got scared. I was like, they can't hear me. Mickey. All right, Aaron can hear me. All right, perfect. All right, okay, let's get into it. Marie from Ohio. Cynthia, loud and clear. Okay. Gabriella from Utah. Okay, that's what's up. CB from Philippines. Heba from Texas. We got Kelly from the UK. Kelly, what's going on? We got Stephanie from Oregon. We got Colleen from Ontario. Ron, what's going on, my guy? LA. Okay, so Sarah checking in from the home team. Our perfect. Marie from Texas. Abraham, I'm doing good today. Today's been like a laid back, chill day, so I rock with it. Emily from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Okay, awesome. So let's talk about it, right? 5 signs that somebody might be experiencing an overdose. And before I give you the 5 signs and talk about it, I want to talk about why we are talking about this, right? So there's been a string of overdoses here, and it's been in Los Angeles, California, and it's been affecting the youth. And in fact, there's even an article, let me put it here for you all, where now LA schools are going to provide Narcan. They're going to make it available for all schools because there have been so many teenagers who've been overdosing. It looks like a 15-year-old student was found in a Hollywood school's bathroom following a fentanyl overdose. So that's kind of what inspired me to talk about this. Let me drop the article here so you all can see it. But that's what inspired me to talk about this. Right. So that's the article right there. You all can read it. But it's very important to talk about this because, people are always talking about, there's an opioid crisis, boom, boom, boom. And Kyra gets the first love of the show. Everyone should know how to administer Narcan. So let's go ahead and is it Kyra or Kira? How do you say that? Either way, let's give you a love of the show. I completely agree. Everybody should know how to administer it. Joe says they just put a Narcan vending machine near my local hospital. Wow. Yeah, it's something that right now in my house I don't have any Narcan, but I've been many times where so that's my sign to go get some. But I've always kept it normally, in my house or my apartment. And I don't have any friends who use, but like I feel safer carrying it, So April says I almost accidentally overdosed my husband. It was following doctor's orders, and he was close to having an overdose. Oh, well, April, I'm happy he's doing better now. Ashley, I appreciate you. Ashley Johnson sharing me. I appreciate you. All right. Now, where are my 5 tips? All right. So let me give my 5 tips. All right. And actually, so we're getting these from the CDC. And let me drop the definition of Narcan for people who don't know what it is. Let me see if I can get this in here so we can get the education in so we can make it make sense. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read this here for you all. Um, if you're watching right now, we're live. But if you're watching the playback, this is a good way for us to start this, right? So Narcan or naloxone is a life-saving medication that can reverse an overdose from opioids, including heroin, fentanyl, and prescription opioid medications when given in time. It's easy to use and small to carry. There's two forms anyone can use without medical training or authorization: the pre-filled nasal spray and the injectable. All right, so this is important because you know you'll cut on the TV and people say, "Oh, overdose, boom, 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 boom." It's so common, so I really feel like everybody should carry it. And with the opioids, people don't understand, or people may not know that when you have too much, and your ability to breathe is being suppressed. If you can't breathe, you can't live. So fortunately, we have naloxone and Narcan, which can help to reverse the effects of the opioids. And this has saved so many people's lives. So if we can get to the point where we are I like the fact that they're giving it out to schools, but I feel like we should have it. Like I should have some in my house right now. So I should have some in my house right now, and I think we should all kind of know what this medication is, because you never know when you have to you may have to save somebody's life, right? And let me now that we've talked a little bit about Narcan, let's talk about the signs that someone might be experiencing an overdose. Let me go to my notes right here, and this is coming from the CDC's website, right? So here are the signs of a potential opioid overdose and what to look for. All right. Uh, Actually, let me talk about this real quick, Brittany. Good question. What is fentanyl? Fentanyl is a strong, strong, strong medication, right? So think of a painkiller like morphine. Fentanyl is many times stronger, way stronger than morphine. So you only need a little bit of it to the point where it can, be lethal. That's why it's so dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. But I mean, we use fentanyl all the time in the hospital. Like when used appropriately, it's fine. But when you're getting on the street and we don't know what's going on, that's when I kind of get a little scared. I'm like, ooh, like, I always tell people all the time, I don't judge people who use, but I will say, make sure that you're putting things into your body that your doctor signed off on. That's the simplest way to, to keep things safe. All right. So the first sign of a potential overdose, right? Small constricted pinpoint pupils, right? What does that mean? So if you're looking at somebody's, let's say somebody looks like they're not all the way there, right? And you're like, what's going on with this person? And you can look into their eyes, and their pupils are small and constricted. That could be a sign that that they may need Narcan, right? That they might be overdosing. And it's important. And like I know that a lot of kids watch my show and my videos and things like that. And I'm happy because I think kids should know what this looks like, because if you're having teenagers here in LA who are overdosing, it means that kids have access to things like fentanyl, kids have access to things like heroin. And it sounds so bad, especially for parents who are watching this, because parents might be like, I don't want to think about the fact that my kid might be around these types of things, but it's here. Like that's the truth, so we have to acknowledge that. And uh Heather says no, if someone has overdosed, they're likely unconscious. Right. So but here's the thing. If let's say somebody is, the sooner the better. So if somebody's like overdosed, then like it's gonna be hard for you to arouse them. But if you start to see them go down, if you can catch it at that point, great. If you can't, then hopefully as soon as you can, get to the person, the better. And when you work in a hospital, like, I've worked in the hospital for many years, you have all these different tools and resources that you can use. But when you're out and about, you might not realize that something is happening until the person is just not conscious. And then, you use a Narcan, the person wakes up and then you're like freaking out, but at least they're alive. Right. Yeah, so real quick before I get to the second sign of a potential overdose, it is terrifying to know that kids have access to these drugs, but it's the truth. Like, and I got, two nephews and a niece, and I have younger brothers, so I don't want to think about it, but at the same time, I know it's out there. So like, if it's out there, it's better for you to come and talk to your kids about it as opposed to them hearing this from their friend or from whoever, right? Uh, Now the second one right here, signs of an overdose. Somebody already mentioned this, somebody already mentioned this, but um, so Betsy, it's different for cocaine, but we'll, and I hope I can say cocaine on this live stream. Uh, if the live stream gets taken out, or if I violate something unknowingly, I guess they'll let me know. But it's a bit different. All right. So the second uh, potential sign, and somebody already mentioned this, so it's all good. But falling asleep or losing consciousness, right? So if you're with somebody, right, and let's say you have a friend who you know that they use, and you see them kind of going in and out of it, they're like they're with you, then they're not, and then they're with you, then they're not, right? For me, like I'm gonna assume that, hey, like if I know the person's using and I know what's going on. Of course, I'm a mental health professional, so I kind of know, what to do. But if you see somebody falling asleep, or they're kind of like losing consciousness, or you're talking to them and they're not really all the way there, you know, uh, Amy says nodding off. Yeah, I like that. I like that because listen, I'm talking to Amy, right? Or Amy's talking to me, and I'm like, I'm there, but then I'm like not really there. And she's like, Kojo. I'm like, not really tracking. That could be a sign that okay, what's going on here? Like, is this something that I need to, address? Because it's a time thing. The sooner, the better. Uh, Let me see my roommate. Okay, and yeah, nodding off. Correct. I felt being informed on drugs made me more aware of. Right, and that's why we're talking about these things. And my only thing that I don't want to do is sometimes when I'm talking about topics like this, I'm like, are we allowed to say certain words? Because there's like community guidelines that we have to adhere to. But I will. This reminds me, I have to talk to Facebook and also YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitch and Twitter to make sure that I stay within the rules. But I think it's important to inform people and let them know what drugs do. Like people should know what drugs do. Like that this is an up or this is a downer. This affects your drive to breathe. This does boom, boom, boom. It's important to talk about that. All right. And the third sign. All right. So we talked a little bit about breathing, right? Um, uh, it says, unfortunately, but we're at the stage where, yeah. And Joe, thank you for talking about that. I made a video about harm reduction. I forgot what platform I posted it on, but the video got taken down. And I understand why, because like there's kids on the apps, but it's about trying to find like a crafty way to to post it without like violating something, because anybody could make a video saying, oh, this is how to use cocaine, and the platforms have to keep the kids and everybody safe. So like I said, I don't want any special treatment because I'm a doctor. I just have to figure out like a cool way to talk about it, right? All right, number 3. All right, signs of a potential overdose, right? Slow, weak, or no breathing, right? And this is where it gets scary, right? Because like you have to be able to breathe to live. So if you see somebody and they might be like nodding off, like they said, right? And they're not breathing as much, or the breathing is like really slow, then you're like, something is going on, right? And then that's when, if you have the Narcan, it's good to go ahead and use it. And I'm a fan of, and look, none of this is medical advice. This is just educational tips, right? So that way it's not, I'm talking to you as Kojo, not Dr. Kojo, but it's important to know, like if you see somebody, especially if you know that they use, we don't judge people, but if the breathing kind of is slow and it's not all the way there, that should be your sign to be like, even if you don't know how to use Narcan or you don't know what's going on, that should be your sign to be like, hey, let me get some help here ASAP. I don't know who I need to get, but and you call somebody and you call 911, get emergent services because we have to do something now. The sooner the better, and yeah, Leilani, knowledge is power is very important. Knowledge is power. Um, and then somebody already mentioned this sign here too. But and I like it when people mention the signs ahead of time because it means that people are aware, right? Um, the fourth one right here, choking or gurgling sounds, right? You start to hear that, uh, then it could be a sign that okay, like we really need to. For me, like if I see somebody nodding off and they're going in and out of consciousness, I'm already like alert, like oh snap, like we gotta do something right now, like right now, And with the choking and gurgling sounds, that could be another key, to kind of key you in and say, we need to get on top of this like ASAP, right? And let me see what Emily's saying. Um, wait, real quick, Sarah, we're talking about opiates, not benzos, not stimulants, just opiates. Right? When we talk, we'll have a live where we talk about benzos, and because benzos are similar, benzos work similar to how alcohol works. Right? We can talk about benzos and alcohol and withdrawals and the seizures that happen. So we'll group that together. And if we're talking about stimulants, we could talk about Adderall, Ritalin, Vyvanse. We can group that together. And then we can talk about things that work that give you a stimulant like effect, like meth and cocaine, like the uppers and downers. So we'll kind of like organize it. Emily says, clammy skin, dilated pupils, slow to no pulse, unconscious or slurring of words, and not sound like themselves. What we do at the rehab facility, rehab for injury, not rehab like because of drugs, I worked at, is we do vital signs every 2 hours. I like that. We had a patient that was overdosing, and we went and got the crash cart and did vitals on them and determined they needed Narcan. Fortunately for the patient, we caught it in time, and the patient was able to come back, and then we called the ambulance. So we have to give Emily a love of the show because Emily's out here saving lives. So we definitely have to give Emily a love of the show. Emily, thank you for dropping that comment in there. I like seeing people talk about okay, like I did this and it was able to help out. All right, so right here, a fifth sign. All right. Yeah, we talked about this before, but still, limp body, cold, clammy skin, right? So if you feel like, somebody's cold, like as human beings, we shouldn't be, our bodies shouldn't be like this. We should not be cold. Like take your arms, your body, like you're not cold, right? Like, so you know how your baseline is. You touch somebody, you should feel like some type of warmth, right? So in some capacity. So if you see the body's limp and cold, clammy skin, like what did they teach you in school or like the basics of nursing school, right? Cold, clammy skin, like you're not getting any perfusion, like we need oxygen, we need to breathe, So if you're not breathing like that, it sign that okay, something is not right. Joe says will also appear like blue skin or pale. Correct. And it's important that we talk about this. And for individual, for example, me, right? Like I'm dark skinned. Like I'm, like you might not see me turn blue or pale. So that's why you can't just rely on that, right? Someone said lips would be blue. They film out the mouth. So I've Elizabeth, I've seen this with some patients ODing before. Deborah, where do you live? Do you live in Colorado or? Oh, it's fall. Okay, yeah, yeah. But especially with people who are darker, you might not be able to pick up on the fact that my skin is blue. So that's when you're checking in to see, like is this guy all the way there? Like, you can ask people like, hey, what's your name? Tell me today's date. Tell me first name last. If somebody can't tell you basic things like that, then you're like, I don't know if they're all the way here with me. Okay. Let me send a text real quick. Give me. All right. Let me see. All these signs associated. So, Brittany, you can have these signs. They can be associated with other things, but right now we're just talking about opioid overdose, right? So let me get the list of all of them and organize them and then drop it in the chat so y'all can see what it looks like. All right, one, two. Maybe one of the moderators can just pin it up there. All right. And can somebody drop in the magic word? Golden clammy skin. There we go. Boom. Actually, Kendra already did it. Kendra, thank you. I appreciate that. Kendra already did it. Awesome. Uh, perfect. Perfect. Overdose awareness and prevention. No, these are life-saving tips. Life-saving tips for sure. No, you're doing a good job keeping up. You're doing a good job keeping up. All right, so somebody dropped in the magic word. The magic word is cheers. Cheers, y'all. So actually, you know what? So I was confused for a second. But something just clicked and made sense. Something just clicked and made sense. And this title of the live, I think I put 5 signs that somebody might be experiencing an overdose. I should have put 5 signs that somebody might be experiencing an opioid overdose. I'm gonna adjust the title after the fact. Let me see. Oh yeah. I gotta adjust the title because people need to know it's different. You know, lorazepam, Ativan is different. Stimulants different. Like it depends on the medication. Somebody say something about Tylenol. Uh, yeah, like Tylenol. If you take too much Tylenol, it could be lethal. People don't know because Tylenol is over the counter, but Tylenol, taking an overabundance of it, you know, like you can, like, it's way easier to overdose on Tylenol than Prozac. People don't know that. You know, like it's hard to overdose on Prozac. It has a long half life. Tylenol, you can get into trouble by taking too much of it. So now that I'm thinking, I should have put the opioid into the title, and I will go back and do that because it's important. It's important to talk about each. Right? Cheers. Let me get some more water. A second water break. Make it Vicky. Coming to go grab. I gotta go grab somebody outside. All right. Okay. Dang, I gotta bounce out. Mickey Ficky. We'll draw some verse. Oh, that's a good one right there. That's a good one right there. The symptoms versus the overdose. All right. So I gotta go, but I can make a live on that. And let me see. Yeah, we talked about that. Dang it. And so heart attack. All right, so Elizabeth, before I go, let me talk about this real quick. Like a heart attack can look differently in men versus women. Sometimes people will grab their shoulder, and you know that's a sign that they're having a heart attack. You know, so it this depends. From what I remember about myocardial infarctions, but we need to have more lives on this. Like we need to have like a whole a full out live, like probably like an hour long live, and talk about the signs and symptoms of certain medications. So that's what people know what to look for. All right, so all right, I do have to get off now because I gotta let some people in to the house. But I will get back on, and this is a bonus show, so we're going live again tomorrow. Definitely at 6 p.m. PST, but we may go live twice tomorrow because I have a lot of things I want to say. I got a lot of I have a long list of things. I think my assistant showed me a recommendation I got from Leilani, so I have a lot of different topics that I want to get to. So we went live twice today, and hopefully I might be able to go live twice a day this week. That'd be super cool. So more on this topic a little bit later. But until the next time, Daniel, I appreciate you all, but like, there's so much. We're just now beginning this conversation. There's so much more that we need to talk about. So much more that we need to talk about. So, until next time, take care. And I love y'all, but keep the questions coming. I really appreciate you all, and I appreciate your attention.